Hello. Just to reassure you, there is nothing wrong with my voice. I'm okay. I was merely in a rush to get here. Anyway, I'm here now, so I can start talking to the camera. And it's just 10 minutes away from kick-off now. So a fine November day here on Merseyside, with Sunderland the visitors to Goodison Park today. Presumably a sellout Goodison is ready for this match against a team that Everton have a ridiculously good record against. And there are the chimes of grand old team. And for all those Evertonians, it really is a grand old team to support. Yeah, you can just see a few fans in the Gladys Street, which is the northern end of the ground, effectively their cop. It's in this bottom right corner of the ground where you can see the Everton logo to the right of the screen. This lower Bullens, where the visitors are. You can really hear grand old team now. Goodison Park, home of the Blues, the Toffees, the People's Club. Well, I may not be in the ground today, but to get all this atmosphere from just outside without paying a single penny still makes it all worthwhile. So as grand old team chimes out around this ground, the players are just in the tunnel, about to come out. And if you know your history, as it mentions, I don't know all the words, so that'll be brutally honest. And there is Zedcars. The Everton players just about to come out, and you'll hear an almighty roar from all the ground any second. Life's good on Merseyside, always two teams in the Premier League, and here we go. course, it's the 10th of November today, one day before Remembrance Sunday, so there'll be a tribute to those lost servicemen. But not before the proud Premier League jingle rings round this grand old stadium. Everton and Sunderland, 2 of the 20 Premier League family members. And that's how you know, because the Premier League jingle rings loud and proud around this ground. Well, you can hardly hear it, but I did hear it at the beginning. So, in a few minutes, after those brave soldiers from the past have been remembered, we will be underway at Goodison Park. Final team news being read, and let's get it on. You can probably hear on the loudspeaker the Everton team news, as one of Everton's unofficial anthems, the one that just goes Everton on repeat, plays around the ground. And of course, I'm in Stanley Park, which is just across the road from the south end of this stadium. It's a beautiful, tranquil place. You're here on your own, just a stone's throw away. There's 40,000 crammed into that building over there. Just like about a month ago when I was in West London, in Brompton Cemetery, just outside Stamford Bridge. And there is your Everton team news. Forgive me, Sunderland fans, but I need to conserve space, so I won't be keeping it rolling for your team news. But I'm sure you'll all do well, Black Cats. Well, it's exactly 3 o'clock now, and it's time to get this match underway. As one of 380 competitions that are fought every year in the Premier League has now just got underway. So it's Everton v Sunderland, and it's going to be fascinating to see what happens. Well, as you can see, some of the geese of this lake have decided to congregate down near me. Unfortunately for them, I ain't got any food for them, and it seems that they've already realised as they slowly start to drift further and further away. That was a rare Sunderland chance, and you'll never guess who took the shot. Yeah, Stephen Fletcher. Thankfully for Everton, it came to nothing. Here's a chance, and it has been deflected behind for what I think is the first corner of the game. In fact, sorry, no, it's the second one, but Everton's first. We're just into this contest. Okay, we're 5 minutes in, and what we're going to do, just for the first 20 minutes, roughly for the first half of the first half, so for about the next 20 minutes, is we're just going to walk around this part of Stanley Park, just the northern part where all the lakes and the bridges are, as opposed to the southern end near Anfield, which are just big fields. And then, by the time we get to about 25 past, we'll then head to the station, get a train home just before half time, and we'll be travelling on the train in the second half. That is the itinerary. Early days, Everton has started brightly, but no real chances yet. Just remember that this is just one of 6 games occurring in the Premier League right now. And just give me a moment to remember them, and I'll tell you what the other 5 are. Well, we're still very early days this afternoon, 10 minutes in now. And I've just remembered what the other Premier League fixtures are that are currently in progress. Well, there's obviously this one, Everton Sunderland, Arsenal Fulham, Wigan West Brom, Reading Norwich, Southampton Swansea, and Stoke QPR. And now that I'm on another bridge, let me just show you some of the vistas. Because even at this time of year, where it's dark and increasingly cold, it still looks quaint. And the other side. Wonderful, wonderful views. Well, Everton really turning the screw now in this game we're listening to. And what's going to be fascinating is I'm easily within hearing range of the ground, especially when a goal would go in and you hear the fans cheering for either team. I'm several hundred metres away, so it will take over a second, 1 to 1.5 seconds, for the sound of them cheering to actually reach me, because the speed of sound only travels at about 330 metres a second. Yeah, we're turning right at this point. And there you are. Well, we've now made it to the other side of the lake. And we've also just heard the first goal of the afternoon in the Premier League. And it's one that you probably would predict despite their recent troubles. Arsenal 1, Fulham 0. And it's the French player Olivier Giroud with the goal. Anyway, let's turn our attentions to across the lake, where a Premier League game is in progress. In fact, from here, you might be able to see the light right in the middle of the screen. It's actually the big screen at the northwest corner of the ground. If I had a really good camera and could zoom in, I could technically watch the game. But I'm not going to squint and strain my eyes, so forget it. It's an ideal home game for Evertonians, this, because they have a ridiculously, and I say ridiculously, good record against Sunderland. Unbeaten in 18 meetings, not lost in over 10 years. Well, they've won all but a few meetings. And there's been 4-0s, 7-0s, 7-1s at Goodison alone. Chance? Possibly. We're 20 minutes in now, by the way. Everton chance there. Well, just over the hill, beyond them trees, is the home of one of the most successful teams in European football history. For Stanley Park, if I'm not mistaken, is the only place in the country where you can stand in a spot and see 2 Premier League grounds from it, not including being at the top of a tall building. The Reds have a big game at Chelsea tomorrow, which of course I will watch as we come to this nice monument. So at this point, actually, what way should we go? 25 minutes in, I think what I will do is tell you about an early substitution for Everton, and it's unfortunate for Kevin Morales. He has gone off early, sadly, because of a hamstring, which he appears to have done. Still only 1 goal that we know of in the Premier League so far. Stephen Naismith has just come on. You may have heard it there. He is Kevin Morales' replacement. Already approaching the half-hour mark, in fact. And as for Anfield, we will have a look at that ground later on in the season. Have we? Oh, we haven't got a goal, we've got 2. There's been 3 goals at the Emirates. Arsenal went 2 up, but Berbatov has pulled Fulham back into it. Arsenal 2, Fulham 1. And the other 5 don't have any goals yet. Well, there's a free kick coming up, although I'm not sure for which team. I think it was Everton. It's already been played and it hasn't come to anything serious. Right down by the lake here. Yeah. Cute little ducks. Most of these are of the male variety, incidentally. Yeah, but I've got no breadcrumbs. Sorry, fellas. Everton on the attack. Water safety is important. It's an Everton corner. It's going to be another corner, I think. I know it's not stayed in. Everton's still on the attack. Just my luck, isn't it? We heard 4 goals in the first half an hour when we camped out at the beginning of the Stamford Bridge game a month ago. In half an hour we've had nothing in terms of goals today. And that's the way that the Premier League biscuit crumbles, so to speak. Coming back up to the ground now as we make our way out of Stanley Park, and then I'll update you a couple of times as we approach the station. It's probably going to be half time just before we reach Kirkdale, which is where we're getting our train from. Actually, I think I will put my camera away because fingertips are getting just a little bit cold standing here filming this. Just coming out now. As we walk into the sunset, just like in a predictable American Hollywood blockbuster movie. Goodbye for now, Goodison. I'll definitely be seeing this ground later on in the season though. This is the way I came, so this is the way I'm going back. Well, it seems that Sunderland are growing in confidence. Definitely their best spell with the game so far. And speaking of away teams doing well, we think there's been a goal at the Wigan JJB Stadium, or the DW as it's now known. We believe that it's Wigan 0, West Brom 1. There. Well, I'm half a mile or so away from the ground now, and just as it seemed it was going to be 0-0 at half time, it's not going to be. Practically with the last kick of the half, in 1 minute of stoppage time, there's been a goal. My immediate reaction was to take my headphones out my ears and see if I could hear the reactions, but I couldn't. Not only because we're quite a distance away, but because it was a minority from the northeast that were celebrating it. Everton 0, Sunderland 1. And to be fair, they've more than deserved it in many respects. Sunderland hold a rare lead at Everton. And I think that is half time now, yeah. In fact, it is half time now. And Sunderland indeed do take a 1-0 lead in at Goodison. And that's not the only shock we've heard. Arsenal have blown a 2-0 lead again, just like they did against Schalke in the Champions League in midweek. So Arsenal not the only fans disappointed. Everton not the only fans disappointed. Arsenal ones are too. Half time it is. Well, this is the view from Kirkdale Station, which is where we got off earlier, which is where we're getting the train from. There was at least one more goal at the JJB Stadium just before half time, although I don't know who to. So it might be an equaliser, it might be a second for West Brom, I'm not sure. Here comes the train, and here comes the rain, so we're getting the train just in the nick of time. See you in the second half. Well, we're on our way home now, almost the end of the 90 minutes, and there's been a lot of goals as you expect. And like almost, chance? Good Evertonian block there. And like almost every Premier League Saturday afternoon, there's been more goals in the second half than the first, as the urgency increases. I'm afraid for Sunderland, the misery goes on against Everton. 2 goals in 2 minutes have killed Sunderland, and they were still leading with 12 minutes left. Fellaini with the first, and I think Yelovich with the second. So I'll tell you what the goals were. Firstly, remember Arsenal were 2-0 with Fulham. Well, Fulham, incredibly enough, went ahead at Arsenal through a Berbatov penalty, second in the afternoon. Within a minute, Giroud got his second in the afternoon to say equalise for Arsenal. We think it's still 3-3 there. There was a second goal just before half time in the Wigan West Brom game. I'm not sure if it was either an equaliser for Wigan or a second West Brom. In any case, it's Wigan 1, West Brom 2 now. I think it's still 0-0 in the Sunderland, in the Reading Norwich game. In the Southampton Swansea game, there's been 2 goals. The first one for the Saints, but the Swans have equalised, so 1-1. Stoke are beating QPR 1-0, and I think that's everything. Anyway, just a couple of minutes to go. Almost there now. It's all over now, and the good old days continue for the Toffees of Goodison. Everton are up to 4th. In fact, they're already 4th. They've extended their gap to the teams below. They're on 20 points and are just 4 points off the leaders at the moment. Disappointment for Sunderland, but they'll pick themselves up. And on another great afternoon in the Premier League, thank you for joining us, and hopefully you can join us for another adventure soon. So, ciao. Good afternoon. Now you may recognise where we are, as we were here just a week ago. Well, I've decided to come to the same place at Arrow Park, although I will be walking a slightly different route for today's Super Sunday. Like last week, it's the first of 2 I'm listening to, the half-1 kick-off. But in all fairness, it's a much bigger game today. Man City versus Tottenham. Manchester versus London, North versus South. But giant versus giant. So, kick-off is just 5 minutes away. The players are about to come out at a sold-out Etihad. And it only leaves me to say, let's get the game on. And TalkSport will be providing our commentary, as they did last week, for that game. And then Liverpool travel to Chelsea, and it's Newcastle West Ham. They're the other 2 games today, so a big Super Sunday in prospect. Well, the entire Etihad has just observed a beautiful 1 minute silence, a fitting tribute to the servicemen of times gone by that lost their lives serving our proud country. For it is Remembrance Sunday today, the 11th, and they will not be forgotten. However, it's time for me to lock up the car and let's start walking. We're just a few minutes in. I think I'll just turn the radio off. I've got it on in my ears. And with a bit of luck, we will now lock the car and let's go. And as I say, we're taking a slightly different route this afternoon. And we're 5 minutes in to what is a big Premier League match. Well, it's still very early days in this match as we walk through the golf courses. Well, the pitch and putt course, the Mickey Mouse course to my right, and the main golf course behind the hedge to the left. Well, last week I went left. However, the first change in the route is here because I'm heading straight to start with. Now, I like this building we're coming up to, which you'll see to your left. Any grand old buildings like country houses, mansions, etc. I always find interesting. Yeah, there it is. It's just some private residences, it says on the sign, some private residences. I'll show you a closer look in a minute. Yeah, from this shot you can actually see how extensive the building is, as well as the grounds in general. And here's the main facade from the front. And finally, the mansion from this angle. Well, back to the game. Quarter of an hour gone. City generally seem to be on top, which they almost always are at home. Still 0-0 here. Actually, I think we're going to take a shortcut. Going through this gap here in the trees and cutting across a few paces of the wonderful British woodland. And we'll go left here as we hit the 20-minute mark just about now. 20 minutes have gone and we have our first goal. Oh, Man City's home record is in a bit of jeopardy because it's not them that have scored, it's Tottenham. Apparently Joe Hart looked like that he was going to save a shot or a cross or something, and he somehow pounced and put it into his own net. He's literally pushed the ball into his own net. Not sure who the score is going to be officially credited as, but it is Man City 0, Spurs 1 after 20 minutes. Very much against a run of play. So there you go. And by the way, this is the car park, one of the car parks for Arrow Park Hospital. I'm not going to film around here because it's not really part of today's route, so I'll join you in a few minutes. Well, what clearly is a disused entrance to the hospital car park is the way we're exiting it. I've just heard it was a header from a corner from Stephen Colker that actually led to the goal, which Hart palmed into his own net. Speaking of net, let's go this way. Take us back to the main road. So that was the goal. We're at the half-hour mark now. Just approaching the main road. And there it is. Well, half an hour gone now, and City are still struggling to get that equaliser. Well, we're just coming up to the cemetery, which I'm going to have a look in for the final 10 minutes of the half. Just through them gates. It's still City 0, Spurs 1, by the way. A shock is on the cards. Well, in both directions, not only over there, but also over there. There's literally hundreds of yards of graves and tombstones. Or should I say, tombs and gravestones. That probably makes a bit more sense. As City come close just a few seconds ago through Tevez. It's nice here. I mean, it is the resting place of the dead, but the trees are good. Well, we're just past halfway in this circular route round the main central buildings. A small chapel just to my left. And all of a sudden, we're into the final few minutes of this half, and it's a frustrating time for Man City fans and the players. Well, we've just entered 2 minutes of stoppage time. So as the half draws to a close, so does my walk. And we're just a few minutes away from the car park. So let's get to it. Well, it is half time now, and the Man City players were hit with a chorus of boos from the home fans. Their team are losing. It's Man City 0, Tottenham 1. Second half to follow. Well, the second half is just about to get underway, and if anything happens, I'll tell you about it. Spurs 1-0 up at City.
Many games here where they haven't lost.
Well, it's going to take a lot of patience for Manchester City. They started a bit outside in the second half, but they can't overdo it. 10 minutes gone. 35 to go for Man City to save themselves.
Who was in line. Now Spurs, the ball played out wide towards Aaron Lennon, but it's come out of play for a Manchester City throw.
Well, we're pretty much on the hour mark now. City is still struggling. They've made a tactical change, but will it pay? Newcastle West Ham kicks off in 10 minutes time. Well, since I spoke to you earlier, there has been a big development. Man City have now equalised, and it was Sergio Aguero that's bailed them out. Probably about just between 60 and 65 minutes. And since then, both sides have pushed for a winner, and it's been a thrilling contest. We're into the final 11 minutes now, and it's still 1-1. Well, we're now into stoppage time in this game, but just before the end of the 90, with about 4 minutes left of it, there was a probably decisive winning goal, and you won't be that surprised to find out that Manchester City, the comeback kings, have done it again. That unbeaten home record is very safe now. It's a wonderful winner by Edin Dzeko, and it brings City right up with United again in the title race, and Chelsea have the chance to keep pace too later on. So it's looking increasingly defined as a three-horse race. Tottenham and Arsenal both seemingly out of it. There are 9 and 11 points respectively off the leaders. There's still a minute left though, but it looks like City are going to win. This is it. The full-time whistle is going in just a few seconds. Tottenham with the last attack. I think it's cleared.
It's back to the halfway line. They'll have
waiting for the final whistle.
Dale. Now for
Spurs, one last chance.
Side is Gallas pushing forward as a right winger here.
Looks like City going to hold on.
Now the clock's ticking. We're almost 6 minutes since the time added on now. Bale holds the ball up. He's got to get the ball into the penalty area.
Well,
he does so. Joe Hart is there.
Hart's got it. That's going to be it.
Will be that. Manchester City's
and it is.
Unbeaten record.
Manchester City have won. They've turned it around. And it's a big win in the Premier League title race. They're still unbeaten. They're just 2 behind United. It's 7 wins and 4 draws now from their first 11 matches. They're on 25 points, just 2 behind United on 27. Chelsea are on 23, but have the chance to move within 1 of United and wedge themselves between the Manchester clubs. Tottenham and Arsenal, unfortunately, it's looking like a race for top 4 for both of them again. But last season we had City and United. This season, City, United and hopefully Chelsea to make it a good, thrilling 3-horse title race. Great game. Well, we're now listening to Newcastle versus West Ham from the Premier League. A game that probably will end in a Newcastle win on paper, but you never know. 25 minutes in, following on from the City Spurs game, it's goalless. Newcastle just 1 defeat in 10, and that was against United about a month ago in the Premier League. West Ham have not won here for many, many years, and Newcastle are generally good at home. West Ham won away win this season at QPR, so yet to win a game outside London this season so far. This is the battle between 2 proud Premier League clubs, 2 United clubs, and Newcastle with a bit of a problem at the moment. Jonas Gutierrez, one of their playmakers, has gone off injured, and there's a worry that a second injury in post substitution might have to have been made. Newcastle generally the better side with most of the play, but after half an hour it remains goalless. There's been a goal, and it's the visitors from the East End of London that are celebrating. Newcastle 0, West Ham United 1. Very much against the run of play. The Hammers are ahead, 7 minutes before half time.